like thrown them like $3 and just been like, bye.
Thought about it. I was like, and keep the change.
Yeah, right.
Gotta go.
Here's your fucking dollars.
Right? Exactly.
I tried to save it. It didn't work.
Phil Doomy says happy birthday and big hug.
Oh, what is big time?
I texted him today to see if he was coming down.
Oh, okay. Coming down
but
to...
he's coming down here, but he's stuck in paperwork.
Oh, I didn't know it was a surprise.
Yeah. Well, I talked to him when we were talking when I saw him last.
Grab my phone
Stay.
when Michael gets here.
No. Stay.
I'm gonna go away.
And do you mind passing me those headphones? Those are just leftover extra ones right here. Just kidding.
Seth will be here about 8:24, but he didn't bring fire.
No fire.
Who's coming?
Michael Vile,
Oh, Mike. Oh, so he's going to be here in like 10 minutes?
that's what he says. 15 minutes.
Better bring a little friend of his. Let's see.
I'm just like,
This is Dark Mark, the goth comedian. This is Dark Mark, the goth comedian. Welcome to the lighter side of the dark side. Listen to your weekly freak show here every Friday night, 9 p.m. on renegaderadio.com. This is Dark Mark, the goth comedian. Please listen to the... This is Dark Mark, the goth comedian. Listen to our weird freak show, The Freaks of Hollywood, come alive every Friday night, 9 o'clock on Renegade Radio. This is Dark Mark. Here's my co-host.
I'm Hannah Bach. Please listen to The Dark Mark Show every Friday night at 9 o'clock on Renegade Radio, renegaderadio.com.
And this is Dark Mark. I'm here with Dakota, the Bearded Lady.
hello.
Yes, she listens every Friday night,
Every Friday night
9 o'clock.
on Renegade Radio.
Yes, that's good. Okay, now we'll get started the show.
Okay.
Let me.
Did you record those?
Yeah. I'll send them as separate files.
Okay, thank
How
you.
bad would it be if you said no?
It's a great
fine.
practice run.
Just wait, I was supposed to record.
Okay. So you're recording now? Okay. Welcome to the lighter side of the dark side. It's your weekly freak show here on Renegade Radio, or Apple, Stitcher, Spotify, iTunes, Deezer, TuneIn,
Deezer.
Radio Public. Yeah, I'm still trying to figure out what Deezer is. Google Play, Google Podcast. It's the Dark Mark Show. And today is a special birthday show.
Happy
Yay,
birthday,
happy
Mom.
birthday.
Yes. And it, as I expected, it didn't quite go as planned, but it's going to be great.
Yeah.
If you were expecting Amazon Eve, unfortunately, she's got an audition tonight, she says, and I hope she gets the part.
I hope so.
Me too.
Because we want to see Amazon Eve in more movies and more TV shows, and she will be on the show,
Yes.
on this show, again. She loves coming on.
She's great.
Yes, she's the best. And that's how I roped in our guest tonight,
That's me.
Dakota the Bearded Lady.
I'm back.
And we love it. And I didn't introduce my co-host, everybody's favorite vegan heavy metal DJ, Hannah Bach.
Hi. Goes without saying, right? Hey, I'm here.
You're here. Well, we're going to get into that because it's been a rough week. And I was going to pick up some Doomies. I didn't really have time, so I got some birthday cake flavored
Ooh.
vegan cookies.
Yay.
So we'll be eating that.
Yeah, I tried to pick up some balloons, and everybody wants to be at the store at the same time.
Oh, is that what you were
Free
doing
way-
at Dollar Tree?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
But I didn't quite make it because I wasn't going to make the show.
No, I've got balloons right here.
You
That's
do?
really courtesy of my friends. And before we get started, we got some sponsors. You were talking to one of our sponsors today.
I was Phil Doomy, and he wished you a very happy birthday and big hug.
Thank you, Phil. Big hug back. Because Phil Doomy, who's been a guest on our show, is the owner, proprietor, cook, magician behind Doomy's Home Cooking.
Mm-hmm.
You know
He's a
Phil, right?
master.
I don't know if I've met. No.
Have you ever been to Doomy's Home Cooking?
Not yet,
Or
but now I
hashtag
kinda want
Doomy's
to.
Next Max.
Yes.
Aristotle, our producer, has been there, and he was very impressed that they are sponsoring us. We went there a couple weeks ago with Amazon Eve and our other guest, Joy Villa, and actually we brought a whole bunch of people. And We went to it's the best vegan food you ever had.
Yeah.
You don't even have to be vegan.
I mean, I'll just like eat anything, honestly.
Really? How about Philly cheesesteak?
Yeah, I'll try it. Yeah.
How about pulled pork?
Oh, definitely.
How about a shrimp po' boy? You're from Louisiana.
Yes, I am.
Vegan Big Mac.
Yum.
I went to, I took my parents there. I had the shrimp po' boy. Vegan shrimp po' boy. Tasted great.
That's awesome.
We went to the next Max. I had chicken flautas.
Yum.
Biggest flautas I've ever had.
Yum.
How was the chili relleno? The nachos.
Addicting.
The nachos were voted one of the 10 best nachos in LA by LA Weekly.
That's awesome.
No meats, no dairy, no nothing.
Nice.
Yeah, and they have good little tacos. I got like a little carne asada vegan taco with my chili relleno. Ooh, so good.
What do they do? Because the nachos have cheese.
And make it. You can make cheese like with cashews if you want.
Yeah.
I'm not sure. He won't tell us his secret though.
But it's good cheese.
It is.
Yeah.
Good.
That sounds awesome.
And so if you go to 1253 Vine Street, you have your choice.
Ooh.
You have the regular Doomies. You have Doomies Next Max. If you have people that some people want Mexican, some people want regular, you can take it back and forth. You can eat wherever you want.
Awesome.
It's the best.
Stoner's Paradise.
Yes.
All right.
1253 Vine Street if you're in
Well, now I know what
Hollywood.
I'm doing.
Soon to be in Culver City and already in Toronto, Canada for our Canadian listeners and viewers.
Wow, I'm going to Toronto.
Ooh.
Go to Doomie's Home Cooking.
Exactly.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
I will ask you about that in a second. But we're also sponsored by Audible.
We are.
audibletrial.com/DMS. Used to be that they just gave you a free book, free 30-day trial. Now they give you a free book and 2 Audible originals, and they changed the Audible originals.
Oh.
Because it was different last month. It was Bob Newhart and other things. Now, you can get whatever book you want. What I was recommending is the guy who played Pinhead. What's his name? Doug Bradley.
Oh, him, yeah.
Doug Bradley, because you were, Doug Bradley has a series of books narrated by him, Robert Englund, Jeffrey Combs from Reanimator,
Wow.
and all the horror all-stars.
That's awesome.
Halloween never ends. Go to Audible. You can get a free book, whatever you want. They've got one of Stephen King's newer books narrated by Will Patton, Tiffany Haddish's autobiography, whatever you want. But you also get, as a bonus, one of 6 Audible originals. One of them is Stephen Fry, the English comic.
Love him.
Oh, he does a whole thing.
Stephen
It's
Fry.
called The Victorian Tours, where he talks about all sorts of hijinks in the Victorian area.
Wow.
Billy Crystal has a play where Kevin Kline and Annette Bening play the president and the first lady. They have an Audible original where it's stories of soldiers that became stand-up comics, narrated by Mary Louise Parker from Weeds. There's 6 Audible originals you can choose from. You get 2, and a book, and a 30-day free trial.
That's a deal.
That's amazing.
Go to audibletrial.com/DMS and listen to some books.
If I didn't already have Audible, I'd be doing that right now.
Yes, there's got to be some way you can get one or two of the Audible originals. At least that Stephen Fry one. That one, I want to check that out myself.
Yeah, I know, me too.
Because I got last month's Hi Bob, which was great.
Yeah.
Where Bob Newhart interviewed newer comics like Will Ferrell and Sarah Silverman.
That's pretty cool.
Yeah, comics in the 40s and 50s. But
Yeah.
Anyway, before we get started and before we get into talking about Dakota and what's been happening with you in the last 3 weeks, because you were just here.
I was just here.
Well, we could talk to you all day.
Yeah.
I got to tell you.
I mean, I could just keep talking forever. I mean, honestly.
I got to tell you, and I shouldn't talk out of school. I know Hannah hates when I do. But after the show, Hannah, in private, told me how impressed she was meeting you and how charmed she was by you.
Very much so.
And I loved getting your message the next day telling me that your grandfather really liked the video.
You did,
That was so awesome.
Yes.
Because Hannah's had a rough week.
Yeah.
It's been rough.
heard.
Well, first off, let me just I have to start with this. I'm an asshole. It's my birthday, but I'm an asshole. Last week...
You're allowed to be on your birthday.
Well, I don't know. Last week, I brought Absinthe into the studio. Aristotle remembers.
Yeah.
I brought Absinthe into the studio, and Hannah seemed excited. So I assumed that Hannah had Absinthe before.
No.
That you had drank Absinthe before.
Nope.
I didn't know that.
Oh, no.
I've done a bunch of other recreational stuff, but not that.
And what happened?
It just, like, I had the worst panic anxiety attack. I remember I was sitting here, I just had 3 little sips, and woo, It's like,
Oh.
and I kind of, you can see from last week's episode.
You got a
that I
little,
kinda tune
pissy
out.
towards the end.
Mhm.
I did get pissy because of a comment.
Yes.
But, yeah, and then it took me until probably like 2 o'clock in the morning to calm down.
Ugh.
So I just didn't work with my chemistry.
That's rough.
Yeah.
So I've never had a panic attack. I don't even know what it's like.
Oh, they are rough. They're rough. I have PTSD, so I haven't gotten too many lately, but like over the past few years, I used to get panic attacks all the time. And like, I mean, like just from personal things that have happened, I'm
You can do
trying
whatever
to
you
not-
want with the balloons. You can pop them, whatever you want to do.
I don't want to pop them right now. Maybe
Pop
I'll
them, go
pop them
ahead.
later.
Yeah, go ahead, pop them.
Woo!
There you go.
There we go.
Okay.
There's one. All right, that's done.
You got some nice nails.
Thank you. I got these done last week.
Very
Nice. Very
I was doing some self-care, and I was like, I'm going to get pointy nails, because I've never had pointy nails before, and I love them.
They are. They're very
They
pretty.
feel really good when you
How
like,
pointy are your
scratch
nails,
your
man? I
head.
know yours are usually pointy.
Yeah.
Pretty pointy.
Yeah.
So that would be. So I apologize for. First off, I didn't know this happened. You didn't tell me this.
I
happened.
didn't know.
So the
how
next
are you
day,
supposed
the
to
next
know?
day, I was like,
Yeah.
I was posting, Hannah had absinthe and she loved it. And
Oh, I didn't even see that.
yeah. So and then I just saw us like, and then our friend Jamie Gendron said something, and I was like, oh wait a second. So I looked back in your post, and you're like, oh god, I had so.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That was embarrassing, but I did it so that there's more other people that may have kind of screwy chemistry like I do.
Right.
Yeah.
So that would be bad enough. But then you went to the Venom show.
It was
It
the
would be bad,
Danzig
yeah.
show.
How was the in between song banter? That's what I love Venom for.
You know what happened was when Venom came on, my girlfriend and I, we were up front, we got really good seats, and we decided to jump into the pit. We climbed over the gate, jumped into the pit, and some guy had grabbed my hair, pulled me back, and I tried to free myself because I wanted to get up stage, and
Mm-hmm.
I went flying down, busted open my knee. I had like a 4x4 gash,
Ooh.
and then I got kicked in the face, and I
Ooh.
still kept going though because I was drunk.
I mean,
That's metal.
yeah, that's what you do.
It was fun, yeah.
Metal.
Definitely metal.
Yeah, we're fucking Venom, yeah.
Pretty much, that's how I was.
No, I was talking about them. That's a
Oh.
yeah. That's why there's like a whole tape of that. They just took the in between banter, and it's like it's pretty funny.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
That's
Are you ready? You're fucking metal. You guys aren't metal. Yeah, we're fucking metal. and then if that wasn't bad enough, it's been a rough week.
Yeah, it's been a rough week.
Yeah, so I'm glad you made it. I was worried about you.
Me too. I was like, traffic.
Yes, yes.
Yeah, I
So-
love to work early.
And this show's been just. I've got the whole rest of the month booked, and this for some reason the last couple of weeks have been weird. But I'm glad that Dakota's here. Now, what did you do for Halloween?
So surprisingly, I didn't get booked for Halloween, which was crazy.
Yeah.
So I sat at home with a witch's hat on and watched Halloween.
The original.
Yeah, the original.
That's
yeah.
awesome.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
right. Hannah saw the new one.
I did see the new one.
Oh my
yeah.
god, I loved the
Me
new
too.
one.
It
It was
was-
like a love letter to the original.
It was
so
yes,
great.
and the killings were just like the originals
Yeah,
were.
it was fantastic.
Yeah, and the cast.
And I mean, I love that they had that line where the granddaughter, like, and her friends are walking, and
Mhm.
one of her friends is like, "Oh, wasn't it her brother that tried to kill her?" And she's like, "No, that's just some crap that like people made up to try and make themselves feel better." Like, just totally erasing the awfulness of those terrible sequels.
Exactly.
But
Yeah.
most people like Halloween too, though. I guess you don't. But Halloween 2 is the one that Halloween 2 people still like.
They're
H2O,
allowed
some
to
people
like it. They're allowed to like it. Some people like Sharknado.
I like 3.
Okay.
That's my favorite.
All
The one
right.
that has the Michael Myers in it. It's got the weird. The toy maker, the Irish toy maker.
Mm.
But the only thing that bothered me though is that guy was trying to be too much like the original Doctor with the way he talked.
Yeah, I could see that.
Yeah, everybody
I
says
don't
that.
want to be.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody says the Doctor sucks, and
He wasn't great.
because this one looked like here's where I'm. Because you were enthusiastic and you liked it, so I probably should go see it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
totally.
And I do have a Fandango card, so I have no
Yeah.
excuse. It's free.
Right.
But it just looks like Halloween 2 meets Halloween H2O. I don't see what the difference is.
It's not. The killings were fantastic. Even the jack-o'-lanterns were amazing, and the
Yeah.
cast was brilliant. Because in the past 2 decades, I personally feel like actors they just fucking suck in horror films.
Yeah.
They're
Yeah.
terrible. I want them all to die. I didn't want
Mhm.
anybody to die.
No. I thought that Judy Greer was amazing.
Yes.
She was so good, and she actually is like super sweet. She shops at my dad's record store sometimes, so like, she's super awesome, and so I was just like really happy to see her do that movie. And like I told my dad, I'm like, next time she comes into the store, like you tell her that I thought that was an amazing film.
Oh, that's so cool.
You know?
Hold that thought. You know how you were saying how you love Rob Zombie and how he does his horror movies?
Yes.
I saw 31. It stunk.
It did.
It sucked.
It really did.
I like Lords of Salem.
That was awful.
No, Lords of Salem was creepy.
I couldn't even get through
31
that.
stinks.
It did. I was disappointed, and I was
Like there's no plot. It's stupid. Lords of Salem had a plot, and it had some pretty creepy imagery. 31 sucks.
I'm hoping From Hell is good.
Okay.
That comes out next year.
From Hell?
From Hell, yeah. It's like a prequel to.
The Devil's Rejects thing. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
So,
interesting.
I was thinking
didn't know that.
the Johnny Depp.
Yeah, they just finished wrapping.
Oh, the Johnny Depp.
Johnny Depp,
Terrible.
Jack the Ripper.
Yeah.
I like that one. Anyway, so let's not. We don't want to have to talk about horror movies all
I can't
day.
even with Johnny Depp anymore. I just can't.
No, I like
I
that
can't take him anymore.
Nope.
He's just not cute. He's just
No.
like creepy.
I stopped liking him after he started beating his wife.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. Well, this is before he beat his wife.
Yeah, no.
Before he met his wife.
Yeah.
Anyway. Your father owned a record store. I didn't know that.
Yeah. My dad owns a record store.
No wonder you're so cool.
Yeah.
Is that where you grew up in music?
Yeah, I started working there when I was 14. I was homeschooled for high school, so I got a job at the record store, and
It's the best job. I used to work at a record store.
It was fun. Ugh, the audio
I wish they
files,
still
though.
had. I wish they still had record stores.
Was it very like Empire Records ish?
I love that you say Empire Records and not High Fidelity, because every single time someone would come in and be like, "Oh, this is just like High Fidelity," I'm like, "Oh, you want the High Fidelity experience? All right, I'm gonna go Jack Black on you right now.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna be that asshole now."
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, what were you saying? I'm sorry. What sucked about it?
About what?
The record store.
Oh, it's just the audio files. I mean, people can be crazy when it comes to vinyl.
Yeah.
Like, crazy. But, it was fine. I mean, we'd get a lot of, like, just weird people in and stuff. And, I mean, it was good for a first job. I mean, I was able to pay my way to England and to Italy just from working there.
And what was this at again?
It's in Thousand Oaks.
Thousand Oaks, okay.
Yeah. It's still
It's
there.
still there?
Yeah, it's still
Oh,
there.
wow.
Yeah, it's still
Well,
running
one
strong.
of the few going.
Yeah. It's Record Outlet in Thousand Oaks.
Record Outlet. Great.
Yeah, it's right on Thousand Oaks Boulevard. It's
geez, I
really
gotta check
cool.
that
It's a
out.
lot of fun. Yeah, you definitely got to check it out.
There's I think there's so few record stores anymore.
I know, right? I mean, I grew up like, just knowing that place, and then, got older, started coming to LA, found Amoeba, and I was just like, oh, this is cool, but like super impersonal. The thing about Record Outlet that I always try to make it was like, like super personal, and like we want people to find what they're looking for. We want people to have a good time, but like, there's a lot of like just boxes of like 45s that people haven't looked through in like 20 years, so like you never know, you're gonna find something awesome every time you go
That's
in there.
cool. Yeah, when I worked at record stores, it was all musicians.
Yeah.
I'm still with friends with to this day, but they were a little snobbish, and I wasn't a musician, so
Yeah.
I was the one if somebody was looking for some like old '80s pop song that no idea. What's the one that goes da 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 da? I ran for Los Angeles. It's over here, and then like somebody would come in. I remember one day somebody came in, and they were looking for CDs for their daughter, and this is like late '90s, and all the CDs were just crap top 40.
Yeah.
But she was so excited that we had them all, and it was such a great personal experience. But I mean, yeah, it was like Matchbox 20 and shit like that. But whatever, that's what you like.
I don't understand people that act super snobby about music. It's just like, it's such a personal thing. I mean, the way that like, like religion and like, relationships are super personal. I mean, music is super personal to everyone. And for someone else to like, just say, oh, your taste in music sucks. It's like, well, that's just like, to quote the dude, that's just like your opinion, man.
Yeah, no, it's funny you should say that because I have a friend who really likes Nickelback.
Okay.
And, maybe in my college years, if he told me that, I would be like, yeah, fucking Nickelback sucks. But he's like, I went to a Nickelback concert, it was fucking rad. And he just told me about the concert, and I was like, I could shit on it, but what's that going to do? He had a good time.
It's just gonna make your friend feel bad. I mean, why do you have to like make people feel bad just because they like a band that you don't like?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, but the best record store story for me, I still tell this, is Vanilla Ice
Okay.
had a second album,
Yeah.
and it came in used. So they had
Okay.
little used CDs.
Yeah.
And I put it on.
Uh-huh.
And everybody, like, I swear, 10 people come up and say, "That's dope. What is that?" I'm
Oh
like,
my god.
"That's Vanilla Ice. It's right there." They're like, "Oh, shit. That sucks." Like, you just said it was good.
Yeah.
And Vanilla Ice's second album, I swear, to this day, is good.
Wasn't it rap, like super, super hard rap? Or?
It wasn't that hard, but it was,
For the
that's when it was
time, maybe.
crew dreadlocks.
Yeah,
And
maybe. Yeah.
He
I
looked like an
kinda
asshole,
remember
but
that.
I mean.
the beats were good. The beats
Yeah.
were good, and he could rap.
Mm-hmm.
So it wasn't bad. And then we had another guy. We had a guy who was, he's a fireman now, but he was like a total punk rocker.
Uh-huh.
And just like totally like, just a big fuck the Nazis punk rocker.
Yeah.
Which I think I asked him once if you ever met a Nazi. He's like, no. I'm like, okay, well, all right. I don't know if they're a threat to your life, but okay.
Yeah.
So I would play like all this German industrial, just like Rammstein, and came at the end and just pissed the shit out of him.
That's funny.
And then we would always like, because he would work and he was like 15 at the time, and we would, like he was supposed to get a turn,
Uh-huh.
but we would always like, no, you had your turn. It's hard. And so we would like do the whole shift where he wouldn't get a turn. But
Oh.
I know that was a little cruel.
You guys are lucky. I got stuck working at a video store.
Oh, we had a
I
video
would
store
have
too.
loved to have worked at a video
Not
store.
a Blockbuster. We
Oh
would
god,
be,
not that video
We'd be
store.
driven so insane by having to watch the trailers over and over again. We would destroy them on accident. We don't know what happened to them, just so we can pop movies in.
Yeah.
And then I'd have to work on Christmas, and you have these. I worked in Hermosa Beach.
Oh.
These little snot bag kids would come in and throw their toys around on Christmas, and we don't want to be there knocking down videos, and their parents not paying attention.
Oh, stealing the candy. And,
Awful. Oh yeah, going into the ice cream bin and playing around.
oh.
Ugh. That reminds me of.
Yeah, we had videos too. It was great. It was great, except they had me. Because when I first started working there, they're like, you got to go organize the pornos. And they had gay pornos. They had like weird pornos. They had like all sorts of shit.
Mm-hmm.
After organizing all the pornos, which took like 3 days,
Mm-hmm.
I never want to watch a porno again.
Do you want to use hand sanitizer as well?
It was gross. Yeah, it was gross. But just, I mean, the dirty debutantes had to be together. It was awful.
We didn't have porn at Blockbuster.
Exactly.
So
No,
maybe
no.
Sliver was like the closest thing to porn we got.
Oh, that's
Yeah, they
funny.
they even they censored the R-rated movies, and Blockbuster sucked.
Yeah.
it did. It was a Christian organization.
I heard that the last one finally shut down.
It did. I think it was in
Yeah.
Alaska.
Yeah, that's what I
Yeah.
heard. Yeah.
Sucks.
I
That's
saw
another
something
thing,
on
but-
Facebook about it.
I miss going to a bookstore, or record
Mhm.
store, or video store, just fucking around for a day.
I do
Yeah.
miss going to video stores because, like, looking at the VHS though, I'm like,
Mhm.
ew. I remember when we were able to rent. My mom and I were so poor we could rent VCR players. To
Yeah.
Take it home with us
That's
and then return it.
okay. Yeah.
Oh, okay. I guess. And by the way, Michael Vile, the magician, is going to be kind of joining us, but let's say that's not going to be for another 10 minutes. Anyway, so you didn't. So you weren't booked on Halloween.
No, I wasn't booked on Halloween. No.
And but you were working at the Beetle House, right?
Yeah, I work there.
And tell us more about that, because we didn't really get into that last time.
So Beetle House is really cool. It's like this Tim Burton themed bar and restaurant, and it's like right on Hollywood and Vine,
Mhm.
or well, Hollywood and Ivar. But it's super awesome. Like you go in, you can just go and have drinks. You can make a reservation and have dinner. And if you have dinner on a weekend, you get to see the freak show. So there's usually like one performer and then a fire performer as well. So like you get to see a full show. It's like a 10-minute show, and you do them several times a night. I work there, and then a bunch of my really good sideshow friends all work there because I've been working with Freak Show Deluxe, and so just basically anyone who like has been working with Freak Show Deluxe in LA can get booked there. And sometimes people will come through, like the Sentimentalists from Canada will come in, and they'll come and perform for a night there, just stuff like that. And it's really awesome. We've got characters that wander around. We've got Edward Scissorhands, Jack Skellington, Beetlejuice, Catwoman, Willy Wonka. It's just a really good time.
Right.
Yeah.
And They've got Ed Wood that walks around. He's in black and white.
No, but our guy that does Edward Scissorhands and Jack Skellington, he actually did a really good Ed Wood cosplay, and he actually painted himself black and white.
Right.
And yeah, it's amazing. I'll show you a picture of that. He's incredible. He's like one of my favorite people that I work with, and
But you just go as yourself?
Yeah, I just go as Dakota the Bearded Lady.
Okay.
Yeah. I have a good time. I go up to people's tables and do, sideshow acts for them. Usually I do blockhead when I'm walking around to tables, and then on stage I'll do like mousetrap and what's called the human cutting board, and that's where I hold a cucumber against my arm and I slice it up with a machete without cutting myself.
Ooh, I'd like to see that.
That's really fun, yeah. And,
you
and
got
then
a machete or?
No, I don't have it with me. It's at Beetle
Next
House.
time.
It's at Beetle House. Yeah.
Now we were talking outside. You know the tricks. You know how to do these things.
Yeah, I do. Yeah.
What's the trick to that? You can't say.
You whack yourself with a machete and pray that you don't do it wrong.
Really?
Yeah, that's literally what happens.
Have you done it wrong?
Yes.
Ooh.
Twice. I got a cut right here on my wrist a couple weeks ago, and my whole shtick on stage is that I don't feel pain. I have a very highly elevated pain tolerance because of my condition, so it just sounds better on stage to say I don't feel pain and then show them that I don't feel pain. So I whack myself with a machete. I hit too high, and I throw my arm out, and I'm like, "Do you see any cuts? Do you see any blood?" And the girl goes, "Yeah," and I was just like, "Oh, well, that's how you know that it's real, ladies and gentlemen." And then the other time,
on the inside where you're like, ooh.
Yeah. I was just sort of like, well, that happened already then.
Yeah.
Then the other time I cut open my fingernail.
Ooh.
Oh, that's. Ooh.
And that was like during my first week of knowing that act, and I learned that act in the stupidest way possible. I texted someone and was just like, "Hey, how do I do this? I want to do it." And they were just like, "Here's how you do it. Let me know how it goes." I'm like, "Cool, thanks."
Yeah.
Buy a couple of cucumbers, I buy a machete, I go backstage at work, the night that I'm going to be doing it for the first time, and I'm like, let's give this a shot.
Right.
So I try it backstage, and it works, and I'm like, well, that's cool, alrighty then, I guess I'll do this on stage. So in that first week of doing that, I hit too low, I hit the same spot twice, so I overcorrected, I hit too high, and I ended up hitting my hand, and then I just kept going, and I didn't realize until later after my volunteer walked off stage, I looked down at my hand and I could see blood coming out from my fingernail, and I was just like, okay, that happened. So while our next performer was going on stage, I grabbed him by the arm and I go, I'm leaving the stage. I never leave a stage when I'm performing.
Right.
I never leave the stage. I will step to the side of the stage to do fire safety, but I will never get off of the stage. And then I have to go up afterwards to say the goodbyes and take a bow and everything. And so I grab him by the arm as he's stepping on stage, and I go, I'm leaving the stage. And he goes, okay. And I go, I will be back in time to do the closing part, but I need to leave right now. And he's just like, all right, got it, understood. So I let him go and do his thing. I run to the back, to the kitchen, where they have the first aid kit, and the chef yells at me, and he goes, Dakota, get out of here. And I turn around, and I'm just like, no! And he just took a step back, because this guy, he used to yell at people a lot. He's gotten a lot better, but he used to yell a lot. And we'd get overwhelmed, and things would be really crazy and stuff. I knew that there's a first aid kit back there. I needed a wet wipe or something to just wrap my finger up until I could get backstage and deal with it. So I just grab a wet wipe and a Band-Aid and run back out and stand on the side of the stage, and I grabbed a paper towel from the ladies' room and just wrapped it around my finger, and I had my hand behind my back and was just pressing it against a wall and was leaning against the wall just to put pressure on it to make it stop bleeding. When my other person got off stage, I had the paper towel balled up in my hand, had my hand just like this, didn't let anyone on stage, didn't let the audience see what was going on. When I managed to get backstage, I found out that I had actually cut my fingernail from about here to here. So I just put a Band-Aid on it.
Still doesn't sound as dangerous as the pit in Venom, but...
No, not quite. No, but my number one thing was just making sure that the audience didn't see that it had happened.
Right.
And that's always my number one thing, is make sure that the audience doesn't see you bleed. And if they do see you bleed, that's the point where you just say, well, that's how you know that it's real.
Right.
Yeah.
I've seen that.
Yeah.
I've seen a few performers say that. Have to say that.
Uh-huh.
Ugh.
It's never a fun time to have to say that.
Yeah.
Because that's when you know that you were going to be injured. So, a day later, I took the Band-Aid off and just put some super glue on it. and just waited until, the nail grew out a little bit more. Underneath my fingernail was like super sensitive for a good 6 months, 8 months.
It would have to be, yeah.
Yeah, it was because it cut all the way down into the skin.
Oh.
Yeah, it was rough, and part of my skin like died underneath my finger.
Ooh.
It was gross. It was really gross.
Wow.
Yeah.
So like you were Dakota with the fucked up fingernail lady.
Yeah, well, no one could see it because I painted it.
Yeah.
I wasn't going to show anyone that I hurt myself.
Right.
What I do? I just put some super glue on it, sand it down with like a nail file, and then paint over it.
Wow.
No one can tell that it's hurt.
So how did you properly learn the cucumber trick?
I just kept doing it.
Trial and error.
I
Yeah.
basically just trial and error at that point, man.
Yeah.
Like I was already doing it for about a month when I hurt myself, and I was
Is
just
the
like,
size
well.
of the cucumber, does that have to do with it?
So when I first started, I was using regular cucumbers, and those are really thick. So what I started doing was I started using English tea cucumbers. They're longer and thinner. Longer gives me more of a chance to like keep going, and it gives it a chance so that I can stop when I get to about here.
Right.
So like once I get to here, I don't like to cut any higher because that's how I end up cutting myself.
Mm-hmm.
But you should have seen when I was first learning it, my whole arm was just black and blue. It was disgusting. It was just like a perpetual bruise. It was rough.
So what was the first trick you learned?
Blockhead.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is taking the nail and
Yep.
Which is
up
your
your
favorite?
nose.
Blockhead.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's the seeing the looks on people's faces when I do that. It's just like
Uh-huh.
so much fun to me.
That's awesome.
Well,
Yeah,
speaking
it's
of
a
that,
good
you almost
time.
got a piercing tonight because
I
you're waiting for us
did.
to come.
Yeah.
And there's a tattoo parlor next door.
Uh-huh.
And you asked if they had a piercer, and you were gonna get one of those what I call the booger ring. It looks like a booger with the.
I mean, any nose ring is going to be a booger ring. Let's
No,
be
no, the
honest.
ones on the side of the
True,
nose
yeah.
don't look like a booger ring, but
The septum.
the septum ring.
Yeah, I was going to get a septum piercing because I got here like 15 minutes early, and I was just sort of like, well, there's a tattoo shop right next door. Like, let's see how much they'll charge. Like, I've got a couple $100. Like, I can, spend $35 on a piercing. And went in and asked if they had any piercers, and they said, no, we only do tattoos. And I was just like, well, okay. Do you know anywhere that does do piercings? And the guy was like, I'm new to town. I have no idea. And I like check Melrose,
Dude.
and I was just like, all right, bye.
You could have asked a coworker, or you could have Googled it for you.
I don't know. The whole place smelled like cigarettes. Like, honestly, I'm not really, like, regretting that too badly.
Yeah.
I mean, they've got great Yelp reviews, and that's why I went in, because I was like, well, it's right here, and let's check the Yelp reviews, and great Yelp reviews. I mean, it's got, like, a 4.5 or something like that, and I was like, well, that's really good for a tattoo shop in Hollywood. Like, may as well check it out.
There's another one like right up the street too. They look a little nicer.
Yeah,
now.
are you gonna get matching booger rings? Is that what's gonna happen?
I'll get one on the side.
Yeah.
Now, wouldn't having the septum piercing, wouldn't that affect the blockhead?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
Not if you get a thin enough ring.
I think it's higher.
Okay.
Yeah, because when I do blockhead, it just goes straight in.
Like, wouldn't
Yeah.
the nail like catch the ring? And
Well, I don't use a nail.
What do you use?
I use a spoon and I use scissors.
Oh, that's right.
Oh,
Yeah, I did the
scissors, I
scissors last
remember.
time, remember?
Yeah, 'cause I showed my granddad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What did Granddad think of that?
I thought it was cool because he grew up in the carnival.
Yeah, granddad's an old
Yeah.
carny.
Well, now you tell me.
Yeah.
But he's never had a corn dog. I'm like, you're 85 years old and you've never had a corn dog, so we have a corn dog date next week because we were supposed to do it this week, but he's sick.
Aw.
So, yeah.
He's never had a corn dog?
He's never had a corn dog.
My friend's son has never had a corn dog. He won't eat them.
Oh.
Why?
He won't. He'll eat a hot dog, but not a corn dog. He's just like.
I crave corn dogs
Corn dogs are
sometimes. I'll
great.
just be like sitting there. I'm like, oh, I really want a corn dog. Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, try it, and they're like, no.
Oh, I'm good. I've got a iced tea right
All
here.
right.
Yeah.
So the first thing you learned was the blockhead.
Yeah.
And
And
what's
then-
is there a trick that you don't do anymore because it's too dangerous?
Mhm.
Yeah.
The only thing that I don't do anymore is I don't jump when I'm on glass because I walk on
Oh.
glass. So like one of the like super common things that you see people do is they'll like jump on the glass. Well, I'm a little bit heavier than most of those people. So I found when I'm jumping on the glass, I can't control my foot placement. I can't control where I'm landing, and I land hard. And glass gets into my feet. And
Oh.
that's the worst. So I met Todd Robbins one time,
Mhm.
who is like, it was such an honor getting to meet him. And I'm at a Scare LA, and I'm performing there. And I jump, I hit the glass, I feel it go into my foot, and I'm just like, all right, cool. this is happening.
Yeah, you know.
This, all right, cool. This is
glass,
happening.
I got glass on my feet. Cool.
Pretty much. I mean,
Yeah.
it still happens occasionally, but
Yeah.
I take better care of my glass now.
Yeah.
So I sit down on the side of the stage, you know, the show's over and everything. I'm sitting on the side of the stage, and I'm like, basically just trying to like pop this piece of glass out of my foot.
Mm-hmm.
Todd Robbins comes walking up to me, and he, hi, I'm Todd Robbins, and I'm standing there with like blood all over my hands, and I'm just like,
Yeah.
hi, I had an accident. I don't want to touch you right now. And
Yeah.
he's just like, oh, no worries. We've all been there. And I'm just like, yeah, I know. We have. You know, this is like my first, I mean, that was like my first gig, I feel like, since getting out of working for Venice Beach.
Right.
And I meet Todd Robbins, and I'm covered
And you're
in
all
blood.
bloody.
Yeah, I'm covered in blood.
Yeah.
So I couldn't really like do much. So you
Yeah.
know, but I'm super excited to get to perform with him in January.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Tell us about that.
So I'm going up to Toronto,
Right.
and I'm going to be performing at the Something Strange sideshow and in Toronto, Canada. And this is going to be my first time performing internationally. So
Nice.
after January, I will be the internationally known Dakota The Bearded Lady.
There
That's
you go.
awesome.
Yeah, and I'm going to
Yeah.
be performing with the Sentimentalists. I'm going to be performing with some really amazing people. I'm super excited to do this, and I'm honestly just like really excited to see Canada.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's very nice.
I've never been,
Oh no, yeah, Canada's cool.
and
everybody's
Toronto's
friendly.
pretty cool from what I hear.
Everybody's
Yeah.
really friendly. It's clean.
Nice. That's super
It's
cool.
like I don't know. You ever in Mexico?
Yeah,
You know how when you're like in Tijuana
yeah.
and it's all dirty, and then when you come to the United States, it gets that exponentially cleaner.
I mean, you're in San Diego, so I don't know how much cleaner it is, but
Yeah, well, you can tell it. You can
Yeah.
tell when you're crossing the border.
yeah.
The air quality changes a bit.
Oh, definitely, yeah. The
Yeah,
first
you're gonna
thing
have that same thing when you cross the border from the United States to Canada.
Oh,
It's
great.
gonna be that much cleaner.
Oh, great. That's what I want to hear.
No, it's gonna be that much cleaner.
No, I know.
Yeah, yeah.
Then I'm going to have to come back to the United States
Then
and
you're
be
gonna
like,
have to come back.
ugh,
It's
I'm
always-
like basically in Mexico now.
Yeah,
And this is Southern California, so I mean, it was
Right.
originally Mexico, so.
yeah.
For all
It
you
definitely
history
is.
nerds out there, I know my history.
So 2019 is shaping up to be a big year for you.
Yeah, I'm really excited. Starting out with a bang. I'm starting by going to Toronto, and then I'm coming back, and I'm doing a gig like a couple days later. And I'm
Now, was
hoping
it the
to
Bloody
have
Feet? Is that how we got you the gig, or
I'm sorry?
was it the Bloody Feet that got you the gig? Was that you
No,
was that
no.
impressed, or-
I honestly haven't spoken to Todd in years,
Right.
so no, it's the Sentimentalists got me the gig.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I met Chris, Dr. Mysterion, and we became friends instantly because he had a Pogo the Clown patch on his
Mhm.
vest. And as soon as I saw that, I was just like, that's awesome. And then he goes, oh, you like that? Turns around, it says Helter Skelter on his back. And I'm just like, all right, we're friends now.
That's awesome.
Yeah, so we've just been friends ever since. He texted me and was just like, hey, do you want to come to... Or no, he was talking to me that night, like the night that we met, and said, do you want to come to Canada and perform with us? And I was just like, yes. And then, you know, a little while later, I texted him. I'm like, hey, so were you serious about me coming to Canada? And he goes, babe, you're already on the poster. I'm like,
Awesome.
okay, cool. Yeah, actually, Monday I'm going to the passport office. I gotta get my passport and
Oh, jeez.
expedite it, obviously, because I've been super broke lately, but I finally like came in.
I was
going to
ask about the passport situation.
Yeah. I had a passport when I was a teenager, because I went to Italy when I was 15, and then England when I was 17, and then I used to go to Mexico all the time because I have a house down there.
What? Wait a second. Wait. You have a house in Mexico?
Yeah, in
It was
Baja.
Just yeah.
Yeah, so my grandfather, when he found out that he had cancer, he decided that he didn't want to like die in the United States. He wanted to die in like a house that he owned in Mexico. And so he bought a house in Mexico in this little town like 100 miles south of Ensenada. And it's got renters in it right now, but I think my mom's trying to like kick them out right now because I don't know. I think they're growing drugs there, honestly. Like they have a $1,000 water bill. I'm like, how do you get that? It's just two people
Wow.
living there. Like,
Wow, even better.
no. The guy's like ex-cop dude, and it's just like rough. So,
Oh, yeah, that
she's like,
sounds a little-
she's like, I'm like, Mom, they're growing drugs, and she's just like, no, he's an ex-cop, and I'm like, he's definitely growing
Those are
And
drugs.
he
best
knows what
drugs.
to do.
Yeah, exactly.
There's all the laws.
hmm And he's in Mexico, and he's 100 miles south of Ensenada, so he's like, it's like a 9-hour car drive from here to there. So like,
I've done it. Yeah.
yeah, it's rough. It is a rough drive, but it's a nice place, and it's a gorgeous house. and it's like right on the beach, and it's super nice, and we get all of our dogs there. Like literally, my mom just brings home stray dogs from Mexico sometimes.
Oh, that's sweet.
We've gotten 2.
And I'm so glad I finagled you into coming into the show.
You finagle me. Like, I literally just commented on your Instagram.
You commented on my
like,
Instagram.
I love Amazon Eve.
And I was like, a light bulb went off. I'm like, Amazon Eve in Dakota? That'd be great.
Yeah.
Because you guys performed last year together. And
yeah.
you guys hit it off right away?
Oh, definitely. Yeah, no, she's such a sweetheart. We met, like, maybe 2 years ago. I can't remember, like, the first time. And, you know, as soon as we met, we were just, like, talking and, like, taking pictures together and just having a really good time. And then we saw each other again, like, a year later at another show. And we were just, like, instantly just, like, shrieking and, like, hugging each other and, like, just having a good old time. And, you know, so I haven't seen her in, like, a year. And so I was just like, I love Amazon Eve. And I always want to support my friends.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm just like, yay, Amazon Eve is doing awesome things with another good friend of mine.
Yeah.
And then she couldn't make it tonight. I'm sad, but it's
Have
fine.
you ever met Michael Vile?
I don't think so.
The magician. Oh, I think you would know if you had. And you probably have crossed paths. I'm trying to think.
Maybe.
But he should be crossing the street and in here shortly.
Okay.
Doing some tricks. But you know the tricks. You know all the tricks.
I know some of them.
You can't watch the magic anymore. You can't watch sideshow anymore.
Sideshow, not so much. Magic, I can still watch.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny because at, like, Beetle House, people will say to their friends, they're like, oh, she's going to do a magic trick for us. And I go, no, you know the difference between what I do and magic is what I do is real.
Yes.
He's pretty good because last time he was in studio, he was sitting right next to me. And I'm just trying to watch him from this angle, and I couldn't figure it out.
Yeah.
But he's good. You'll see. But what was the last time a sideshow stunt actually perplexed you or actually surprised
A
you?
sideshow stunt?
That somebody did that actually surprised you? That you couldn't figure out how they did it, or you were that impressed at how they did it? It's been a while.
Yeah, it's been a while. I guess, like, the biggest thing is just watching people swallow multiple swords.
Mm-hmm.
Multiple? How many?
Well, I mean, I'm sure you guys heard there's a sword swallower who got injured recently swallowing 13.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, that's an unlucky number. You should have gone for 14.
Yeah, he was injured recently, and, you know, this, like, just after I convinced another performer to teach me how to swallow a sword. So starting in December, I'm going to learn how to be a sword swallower, hopefully.
Oh, here he is. Come on in.
Hey!
This is Michael Vile. Better late than never.
You're caught.
I know. Early. All by design. Oh my gosh.
Well, thanks for coming, Michael.
wonders
I
of
appreciate
Uber.
it.
The wonders
it's
of
a
Uber, exactly. That's why I take Lyft.
birthday party. Yeah, no, that's it. Uber is not magic.
No.
Have you ever met Dakota the Bearded Lady?
No, hi. I'm Michael.
Nice to
How are
meet
you?
you.
Pleasure. Absolute pleasure.
We're talking sideshow tricks, all sorts of things.
Right
Yeah.
on.
And I was Michael. Michael is a Iraq War veteran, turned magician,
Oh yeah, I was over there.
and he was last time he was on the show. We had him on with Diane Franklin,
Oh,
Better Off
such a
Dead, and
thrill.
Last American Virgin.
nice.
Who apparently you had a big crush on when you were a kid.
Yeah, a little bit. Well, and a recrush when I got to meet her again. What?
So,
I mean, but
and then he came, surprised me and came to my birthday roast, which, and I know where you were injured, you couldn't make it. But,
Yeah, I couldn't
And,
drive.
and
It
he,
was amazing. I had a great time.
he
Thanks for
impressed
having me.
everybody, yeah. And so he's, first time we had him on the show, he was on the first show we ever had, the first podcast we ever had.
Oh, right.
Oh, wow.
It's him and Bree Walker and a transsexual comedian.
Okay.
And then
She was? I was not aware of that.
You say that every time.
I know.
It was a woman who dressed like a man, but when she was on the show, she was a woman, so she wasn't transsexual on the show.